Hi everyone, I'm Valerie Mata. I go to Sacramento State. I'm majoring in fashion merchandising, and my expected graduation is spring 2021. Okay, so over the course of these last couple of weeks, I've been designing a fall collection for women called Can't Be Bought. And essentially, the idea behind this collection is to address the issue of human trafficking and how it's affecting millions of innocent men and women across the globe. And so, before I started doing my collection, I did research on what human trafficking is and how it affects millions of people. And so, essentially, what it is, it's the illegal trade of humans for the exploitation of humans for the purpose of gaining profit. And human trafficking can occur in different ways in the way victims fall into this. One of the biggest of them being false job advertisements. Some of them are sold by their family or their friends. Others are abducted or they're given false immigration promises. And there's a large misconception that human trafficking is only sex trafficking, which is a large portion of how victims are affected by this, but it can also look like forced labor, bonded labor, involuntary domestic servitude, and child soldiers. And I came to find that human trafficking heavily exists within the fashion industry itself. You know, seeing that the US has such a large apparel market, and the US has one of the biggest, fashion corporations like H&M, Zara, and Forever 21. And a lot of these are fast fashion companies, and they are making, a new collection every single week, which is 52 collections a year, compared to a company like Gap, which only makes 6 collections a year. And so with such a high demand in fashion, a lot of garments are made overseas in developing countries where then the manufacturers offer these good jobs, so called. And so what happens that these girls and these women are given these jobs, but then they come to find that they're overworked. A lot of times they don't see that the pay that they're promised. I've read countless stories of girls who are held hostage in the manufacturing factories until they meet a certain quota. There's a lot of sexual assault allegations. And so I think it's important to hold these corporations responsible and to be transparent with their customers of where their garments are being made, and to be not tolerant of these practices just so that we can get inexpensive garments. And so the next step that I took, I started doing a little bit more research on like the upcoming fall trends. And so I came to find that there's going to be a lot of leather, voluminous sleeves, statement collars, wrap belts, a lot of colorful plaid, which I incorporate into my collection. There's going to be a lot of fringe, oversized blazers, and then Victorian inspired silhouettes. There's going to be matching sets, and then oversized trench coats. There's also 70s inspired coats, and then color blocking, which is the last picture over here, which is like a contrast of like different colors to make your wardrobe a little bit more creative. And to give you guys and then I looked into a little bit more color trends, and there's gonna be a lot of neutral tones like the almond oil, the sheepskin, but then there's also gonna be a lot of like warm tones such as like the dark red here, the sleek gray, but then also vibrant blues. And to give you guys an idea of who my target market is, seeing that 70% of victims who are involved in human trafficking are women, I knew that I wanted this collection to be a women's wear, to empower them and see that they're the ones who are mostly affected in this criminal industry. And so I used Blake Lively as my muse, which is someone you take inspiration from. She not only satisfied the demographic, she's 32 years old, she lives in LA, she has a very fashion forward style. She's married, but she also has a lot of values that are aligned with my collection. She's an activist for human rights. When she was accepting an award, she made a speech about the issue of human trafficking. And instead of, celebrating her own achievements, she really took advantage of the platform that she had to bring light to an important issue of how it's important for all of society to do their part in educating themselves and make sure that this hidden crime comes to light, and do what we can to end the corruption of it all. And so this is when I created my concept board. Essentially, a concept board is pretty much different images that you take which embody the aesthetic of your collection. And so I added a lot of urban elements like concrete, a lot of grainy textures, and neutral colors. I use the white to symbolize the idea of freedom, And as you can see, there's a lot of like red X symbols all throughout. The red X is an anti-human trafficking symbol. This organization called the End It Movement uses it as a way to represent them putting an end to human trafficking and helping those who have been affected by it come and seek freedom. And so I put the X in front of their faces as a way to represent them reclaiming back their identity and finding freedom. And so this concept board really became the foundation for my color palette, as you can see right here. And then that's when I created 12 different looks for my collection. And so each look has the same layout. I created all of these on Adobe Illustrator. I have my illustration on the side, and then I have the flats I created on Illustrator, and then the fabrics that I want to use. And then each one has a name of a girl who was a victim of human trafficking, but is now set free. And so this first one is called Rebecca. It's a olive green long dress. It has a ribbed collar, ribbed sleeves, and hemline. This next one is Maria. This one, going back to the idea, seeing that Victorian silhouette is going to be trendy. I was inspired that and brought that into this top with the jacquard fabric and then the lace. And I paired it with the light wash denim. And then I added a zip tie that says can't be bought with a red X at the bottom. And so you'll see all throughout my collection, I added accessories to re-emphasize the message of this collection in a subtle but creative way. This next one's called Alexandra. It is a 70s inspired coat. It has a red plaid gore here at the top, and I paired it with a can't be bought zip tie on the side. This next one's called Victoria. It's a red plaid blazer, and if you can see in the illustration, it has red X's at the in the pattern. And I was inspired by the red X's that the End It Movement organization uses. This next one is called Jessica. It's a light blue blazer, and I match it with a light wash denim. And light blue is actually a anti-human trafficking color that a lot of organizations use. And so I incorporated that into this look, and I paired it up with a can't be bought tag. And then I brought down the light blue gingham onto the pant to make it a little bit more fashion forward, but still casual enough so you can wear it day to day. This one's called Carla. It's a black brown leather jacket. Again, leather is going to be very trendy this fall. I added a notch collar, a wrap belt, and then here at the chest pocket, the red X's embroidered. And then I matched it up with a dark wash straight leg denim. This one's called Michelle. It's a turtleneck with a light wash denim, and that was inspired by my concept board by the grainy textures. So I incorporated that into this turtleneck, and then it has the zip tie with the pant, and then the suede patches at the bottom, making it fashion forward but casual with the raw cut edges. This one's called Sarah. It's a light blue plaid dress. It has a slit on the side with the long sleeves, the buckle in the middle, and then a boat collar, making it a little bit more sophisticated. This one's called Jenny. It's a spandex cotton long sleeve shirt, and then it has the words can't be bought embroidered into it. And then for the pant, I added a light wash distressed denim. I was inspired by the concrete from my concept board. I really liked the distressed look and the different shades of the gray, so I incorporated that into this pant. This one's called Tanya. It's a gray suede jacket with a faux fur collar. It has a zip tie at the waist, and I paired it with a nylon polyester wool skirt. And for my last two looks, this one's called Rose. It's a nylon wool dress. It has a sweetheart neckline. It's very well fitted and comfortable, and I incorporated the red X's all throughout the dress, again, keeping that message cohesive in a subtle way. And then for my last one, this is called Louisa. It's an all-white denim jumpsuit. It has a notch collar, ripped edges at the sleeve and the ankle with the zip tie at the side. And I wanted to end it with an all-white look, going back to the idea that white represents freedom, and so many of these girls were able to find freedom through so many different nonprofit organizations. And I was doing this project, I found so many great ones such as A21, the End It Movement, and I also added hotlines, which I think it's so important to know that these resources exist, to know that, if you see something, to report it.